Welcome to Just Lyrics with Jake Michael. Today's guest is Irene Lambrou of Alms House. Is that the band you're with? Yes?
Yes.
Who has been writing lyrics for 1,000,000 years and has performed everywhere. And because I don't believe in introductions, I will begin with the very first question, which is, when you were like 5 years old, 4 years old, what sort of music did you hear? What was in the air informing you?
Well, Greek music.
Really?
Popular Greek music, traditional Greek music. My parents were newly emigrated from Greece.
Okay.
I mean, I was born here, but that was definitely what they listened to by far the most. So I grew up listening to, learning to sing in Greek, and that's a little unusual, and I think it's informed my taste and my songwriting probably too.
Could we hear a sample?
Oh, you mean for me to sing it now?
Yeah, sure.
You
don't have
to.
Okay.
No.
That's all right.
It's been a while, but maybe it'll come to me later.
Okay.
And also they listened to, like, I remember my dad had an 8-track tape in the car that he played a lot of Johnny Cash.
Okay.
And we had I remember an album that I would play a lot as a kid in our basement. It was the Malagueña. I came to learn later. And at the time I was taking ballet lessons, so I was down there in the basement doing, ballet moves as a little kid to that. So.
Good question. I never knew any of this stuff. So when you say Greek, I think Greek traditional music is a lot of the bouzouki.
Bouzouki, yeah.
Right. And so that's
very prominent.
But when you Greek pop music, now when I think Greek pop music, I think of like Eurovision, like guys with tight jeans going, and this would be like 1970s, right?
Late 60s, early 1970s.
So this would be, and this maybe is a stereotype about European pop music, but it's horrible. And it's a bunch of guys in really tight clothing going, ee. So was that the sort of stuff you were hearing, or?
Because my folks came here before that, they were sort of playing the older stuff, like more traditional stuff. Mm-hmm. Like there's a song, you still hear it if you go to Greek weddings, and they're close enough to the immigration generation. They'll have a song like the title is translated "How Beautiful the Bride." So that's one song I remember. Orea signifi, orea ta prikiatis, which is like how beautiful this bride is, how beautiful her dowry. So it was more like old traditional stuff, but I know what you mean about the popular music. But I will say the bouzouki creeps into popular music and Greek popular music, even to this day. And it has that sort of Middle Eastern flair to it.
I was about to say that song, that almost seems like it has quarter tones to it.
Correct.
So
I'm not an expert in this, but I'm aware that the mode of that stuff is different than what we're used to hearing in American or Western popular music. So.
Okay, now this has nothing to do with music, but I think there's this tradition where you put money on the bride.
Yeah.
I once heard a comedian say, he goes, that's why Greek men, they like to marry really fat women. So they get, the bigger the bride, the more money you get.
Yeah, you literally come to these weddings, and I haven't been to one in many years, so I'm guessing they still do it.
Right.
But you come with a pile of $1 bills as if you were going somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And when the first dance happens, to this song I was just singing,
right.
They would, you go up to where the bride is dancing, and you just kind of fling the ones at her, or bigger, bigger denominations too.
Okay.
And then they sweep it up at the end, and it belongs to the bride and groom.
Okay, that's neat.
Kind of nice.
It's real, man. It's real.
Yeah, it's real.
Okay, question number 2. What was the first song you wrote that made you think I could be a songwriter? That's just like a real song. You thought, I can do this.
I started playing around with songs, writing poems, and then I got a guitar in high school. And you might remember, and I wasn't, I never took lessons or anything, but I fooled around enough to put together some verses and choruses, and it felt really good. And I kind of kept doing that with big breaks between being more serious about it. I would say I wrote a song in college about, I called it Rat Rot Blues, because in my dorm room, there was suddenly an odor, like something had died in the walls. It was probably a mouse, but for whatever reason, I wrote this song about that. So, but it was fun. I mean, it wasn't any good, and it was very just typical blues derivative thing.
Okay.
Probably the first songs I really loved writing was when I was in a band called Medea, and I co-wrote some songs with a guy named Pat Robinson, who's an amazing songwriter and musician. And those were my first kind of serious attempt at songwriting.
And that was a relatively successful band.
Yeah, we had our little moment in Philly. We got played on, WXPN radio and a couple other local stations back in the late 90s, early aughts. There was a couple songs. Right. So that was fun.
Yeah. Unlike I think every other writer I've had so far, you actually had somewhat of a career.
A little, well, yeah. I mean, it was cool. Yeah. I'm very grateful to have had the experience, and I recognize it's very, very different now.
Yeah. So actually, this next question, this is the make-believe question, but actually ties in quite well. It's 1965. No, it's 1964. 1964.
Important year.
The Brill Building. The Brill Building in New York?
Songwriting factory.
Right. You're trying to get a job at the Brill Building as a lyricist, because they had some people who were just lyricists back then. Mm-hmm. Why should I hire you? I'm Mr. Brill.
Because I write, I make images with the words that are unusual and not, not so much rhyming verse, but more kind of visions, ethereal images, different than maybe what, I don't know if Brill would have wanted that, because they want hits.
That's right, Brill wants hits. That's right. That's the thing.
So maybe I wouldn't focus on that, but I mean, I like the words that I come up with. They're, when they work well, I feel pretty excited about them. Words are, I like words.
Mm-hmm. So, but the other thing is, I would say what you should say is, like, I'm saying, I want to pair you with Neil Sedaka. And you should say, oh, you've co-written songs with other people. That to me is why the Brill Building, why I would hire you as Mr. Brill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in fact, that's a lot of how I work as a lyricist, to the extent I'm a lyricist, I guess. Let's pretend. Yeah. And yeah, for the most part, all of the songs that I've ever been involved in writing, I've done the lyrics. In addition to sometimes music, but my strength is words. Words are my business.
Because your day job is as a fish hawker, going around.
A fish hawker?
Fish. No?
No. No, I'm a ghostwriter in my day job I've been a ghostwriter for many Pennsylvania judges for almost 30 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But that is very different kind of writing from song.
But it's all having to do with processing words, and I find that even when I'm writing my boring government documents, I think it helps with my other stuff.
Definitely.
I'm going to deviate from the questions, which I don't think I've done so far.
Ooh.
They're special. So when you write with somebody versus when you write by yourself, what's the difference in the process? Does one go quicker? Does one go slower? What's the big difference between the two of them? These two processes.
I'm not a player. I mean, I'm definitely not a good player who plays in front of people, although I will just say.
You're saying you're not a good performer on stage?
No, I think I'm a very good performer as a singer.
I do too.
But I'm not an instrumentalist.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm hampered in writing songs alone because of that. So for sure, the process goes a lot faster when I'm co-writing with someone who presents me with, chord progression, and then I can listen to it and sort of feel if it moves me, and then we can move forward and see if it becomes a viable song, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's great. Give me an example, if you can, from your vast collection. What's the catalog? Your catalog. Yeah. Song with like a strong narrative element, and maybe you don't do that. A song that really tells a story, and some people they don't do that at all. Some people do that only, but that's kind of one sort of end of songwriting. Do you do it now?
You're right that I don't do a lot of that kind of lyric writing. There is one song that my band Alms House has where Troy's my husband. Also, we co-write a lot of the songs together in the band. He's in the band too. That we actually set out to write a song that had a story, because I don't ever do that, and this was sort of an intentional exercise. And we wound up writing a song called Gettysburg. We did a little bit of research, and I kind of told the story from the point of view of someone observing, actually a character, Jenny. Do you know this story? Jenny, I forget the last name, but apparently she's like one of the first people who was killed during that battle, but she was inside a house in a kitchen. She was a servant girl or something. And, a bullet or a musket shot came through the wall of the house and killed her. So actually, I'll look at the lyrics because I don't remember them off the top of my head. So that was a song where a hole in the wall, a hole in her head, sweet Jenny alone in the kitchen is dead. Soldiers are haunting old Gettysburg, lives left behind on the sacred ground. And, that's, I think, was a successful attempt at telling a story.
And as I recall, there's like, is there like, I don't know, like accordion or something in the background? It's kind of a
trumpet. There's a trumpet solo in it, which was sort of in the recording process. I wanted violin, and Troy insisted on trumpet, flugelhorn, actually.
So it had like it had kind of an old-fashioned sort of.
So like taps, like a little bit of tap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Bob Mishi is the guy who played the flugel on that song, and really just gave it this mood, this really dramatic, wonderful mood.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it worked out well.
Yeah.
Sad,
okay.
but
Pardon?
sad, and but
if the song was happy, it would be dull.
Right.
Those are words of wisdom, eh? So what have you got that is strong, and I think that's probably in the other direction, is sort of impressionistic songs where you're not even, you might not even know what the hell the person is singing about. What do you think are one of your better sort of setting the stage?
They're kind of all like that. But,
well, that is your strength. But one that's just, that is especially. How about this one? Can you think of one like? I don't have a ton like that, but it's always interesting when I do a song that's like impressionistic, and someone like gets the complete, like, this is what I'm trying to say, and they completely misinterpret it. But that's fine, because I really wasn't saying it. Do you have anything that's like you put out there, and then people are like, oh, that's the song about the purple flowers, and you go,
right.
that's the song about my grandmother's death. What's wrong with you?
I have a song called October Song, which it's basically it's kind of grew out of insomnia and just being awake all night, and the things you experience when you're awake alone at night. You get to see the sun the moon really high up in the sky. You get to hear, if somebody's sleeping there next to you, you get to hear them breathing. And, you wouldn't, so if the insomnia is an awful thing to be experiencing, which I have a lot, and the anxiety that happens when you're having that, maybe this is a way that people can see the positive aspect of it. But I don't know, like, what people get from lyrics like the chorus of the song says, time is liquid, time pours over, time is running out.
That's good.
So I don't know what folks get from that, but I don't know, sort of like this, I was trying to express the sadness and that special kind of sad scariness that happens in the middle of the night when nobody else is there.
I among many of my theories, but I almost wonder if it's like there's like subconscious communication that is going from your subconscious and is being picked up by someone else's subconscious, and there's really no conscious communication going on there. And though the words have meaning, it's just almost like a dog barking to another dog, and the dog sort of knows what the first dog is saying.
They get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's some kind of, what do they call it? Did they call them archetypes? Like there's some, or ancestral memory, right? Like we all kind of have this stuff in there that, we're not conscious of it, but
yeah,
maybe people can understand each other on some level if they are open to it, which maybe they're not.
You're the third songwriter who, when we're asking about writing songs, they talk about insomnia. Like so far.
I think this must be a requirement.
I don't know, but yeah, but I've been there. Let's see. How about an example of a song with strong, I call it wordplay. That can be rhyme within a rhyme. That can be an interesting, unique use of words, something that usually doesn't happen in music, some sort of, word architecture stuff. Got any of that in your sheet papers?
We have a song called Cups. Like the cup you drink out of.
Yeah.
And it turns out, it sounds like it's a drinking song. But it kind of turns into this, the refrain at the end is 20,000 sunsets. And then you kind of quickly calculate, maybe when you're listening to it, how many years is that, right? about 54 years, which is when we were in the process of writing it. Somebody's age.
Somebody's age. Psst, I don't know.
Somebody's age. So it seems like it's this fun drinking song. Line your glasses up, boys. Time to break the seal and pour your heart out.
That's
is
good.
The first line. Amber fire. And then it kind of turns into this thing. Everything changes, no one is safe. Fill up your cups and let's toast to a good run. And, you know, actually I had somebody say, oh, is it about skiing? No.
That's great. That's great.
But, you know, people are different the way they listen to songs. So some people really try to like get in there, and some people let it wash over them and just kind of enjoy the music. So I don't care. I mean, whatever speaks to people.
Right. I always wanted to do a song, which I never was able to pull off, the 12-bar blues, where you go out drinking and you start out at this really nice bar, the first beautiful waitress and all this stuff like that. But by the 12th bar, you're in a parking lot drinking ever.
All right. Out of a bag, out of a
big the 12 bar. Anyway. Okay. What? I'm presuming you have a hit song. Everybody has one or two that everybody, wants you to play. Your version of Oh Mandy, because I'm sure that Barry Manilow, he's got other songs, but everybody wants to hear Oh Mandy, and he goes out and he sings it. So what's your hit song? Can you think of your hit song, and why do you think that song is a hit versus your other songs, which maybe you even like better?
Wow, that's a good question. First of all, just to be clear, we don't have any hit songs.
Oh, yes, you do.
I will say that the song that got the most airplay, to the extent there was any, is a song called Cathedral Dream, which was not an Alms House. That was a song that I co-wrote with Pat Robinson in Medea. And that's a heavy on imagery song, but it had this kind of driving bass beat to it, and it was really bass driven. And the lyrics, I was really proud of them. That was sort of the first song, and this was back in the days when you didn't have like your phone with a recorder in it. It was, I think I sung it into my voice and my answering machine. That's what I had back then, an answering machine.
Yeah.
When I got to work, like I thought of it on my way to work, and then I sang it into my answering machine.
Happens to me all the time.
So, and if you don't catch it, like you got to catch it. If you don't catch it,
you kick yourself.
I mean, for me at least, it's flies away.
Yeah.
So, I would say that was like my biggest hit song. So, and people still, people still maybe, to the extent they come out to see us play and know that I was in this other band, they know that song.
Yeah. Okay, here's the embarrassing parts of the part of the interview. What critically panned song? Oh, actually, you know about the one that my answer to this. Our viewers may not know that we went to high school together, and then we didn't see each other for like 25 years probably, and then ran into each other because we were both playing in music again.
Right.
What critically panned song, musical group, or style are you embarrassed to admit that you like? So this is music when you know that people are going to go, you like that?
Well, I think your answer is Monkeys.
No. Close. Close.
Okay. Well, my answer, I will say, I mean, there's probably more than one, but what's coming to my mind now, what's on my phone that when it comes on, I'm still like really into it, is some Britney Spears stuff.
Okay, good.
And it's because it's great, like for running or just, it's up-tempo, silly fluff. Yeah. But, she's a good singer and she had some good songs. So,
so mine, and then when I say it, you'll go, oh yeah. And not only that, I was in Cuba in November at the restaurant next to the bar where the famous writer used to go and get drunk all the time, Hemingway.
Hemingway.
And on the video in Cuba, we're watching Belinda Carlisle sing with the Go-Go's.
Oh, the Go-Go's. I love the Go-Go's. Yeah. And I love Belinda Carlisle. And I was probably the only person who bought her solo record with that remake. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I love the Go-Go's.
Okay.
Which song is your favorite of theirs?
I like a few, but Arts Are Sealed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one where I go and people go, you like them? But, let's see. Okay, now here, the other opposite side of that is what critically acclaimed song group or person who you are supposed to like, do you not like?
Oh, that's easy. Bob Dylan.
Ah, yeah.
It's always a shocker to people.
And why?
I really don't enjoy listening to his voice.
You're the second person to say that.
It really just bothers me.
And I can't disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But he's not like there's something, yeah. And maybe it's also just how popular he is.
Yeah.
That also elevates me to really dislike it extra.
Yeah, no. Buddy of mine, he was like, I don't like U2. And I'm like, why? And he goes, all their songs sound the same. And I was just like, they actually kind of do.
They do, but it's a good formula.
I know. It's a great song. But yeah, it's just like, well, okay, that's great. Well, hopefully this recording has worked. It looks like it is. And since nobody in the internet age can listen to anything for more than 20 minutes, and we've gone 30.
Wow.
Where can people hear your music online?
You can find Almshouse everywhere you consume music. Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and of course our website, if we had any shows, which we don't, almshouse.com.
Say that again. I think the things got screwed up.
almshousemusic.com.
Okay.
That's our website.
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by the studio. Whatever.
Thank you, Jake.
Irene Lambrou, you write good songs.
Thank you. So do you.